Alright guys, welcome to video 1.3, which is all about our mathematical properties that we are going to be applying here in 5th grade. Our first property that we're going to be talking about is the identity property of addition. And the identity property of addition says any number plus 0, then the problem keeps its own identity. It stays the same. The answer remains the same. Any number plus 0 is whatever number you started with. So puppy dog plus 0 equals puppy dog. The examples I have there, 3 plus 0 equals 3, 11 plus 0 equals 11. The next property is the identity property of multiplication, which similarly to the identity property of addition says any number multiplied by 1 will keep the answer the same. Again, it will keep its own identity. The way I remember my identity property is that they are the one that it's like looking in the mirror. You do something to it, you style your hair, you add a bunch of makeup, but you are still you. So 3 times 1 is 3, 11 times 1 is 11, triangle times 1 is still triangle. Commutative property, we have one of addition and one of multiplication. So the commutative property of addition says that I can change the order of the numbers in an addition problem and it will still give me the same answer. So you see there I have 6 plus 3 plus 2 plus 4. Well, 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 4 is 15. So the sum of that is 15. But I can change the order and still get the same answer. So on the next one I have the same numbers, but they're mixed up. It's like I put them in a bag and just mix them all up. So here I have 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 6. So let's see what we get. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 6 is 15. And this comes in handy when you are working to make numbers easier to add. If you have large numbers, sometimes it's easier to add and find numbers that add together to make 10. Similarly, the commutative property of multiplication says that I can change the order of numbers in a multiplication problem and it will not change my answer. So the example I have, 7 times 3 times 5 is 105 because 7 times 3 is 21 and 21 times 5 is 105. Personally, the way I would solve it is I would do the second one. I would do 3 times 5 because I know that answer in my head is 15, and then I can do 15 times 7 to equal 105. Commutative property says I can do that. I can change the order. But I can only change the order because all of the operations are multiplication. This property does not apply if I have multiplication and another operation. I can't mix operations and change the numbers around. All of the operations have to be multiplication to apply this property. The last property that we're going to talk about today is the associative property. It's the associative property of both addition and multiplication. And the associative property says that I can move the parentheses in a problem as long as the operations are all either addition or multiplication. So my first example that you see there, in parentheses I have 7 plus 3, and then plus another 9 gives me 19. Well, my brain says I want to do 3 plus 9 first. So that's what I did on the second one, is I changed the order. I just moved my parentheses, my grouping, and I said I want to do 3 plus 9 first and get 12, and then add my other 7 to get 19. I get the same answer because all of the operations are the same. Again, for multiplication, 2 times 3 is 6, times 5 is 30. But maybe I want to do 3 times 5 to give me 15, and then multiply by 2 to get 30. I still get the same answer. Now the way I differentiate associative property and commutative property, because they're all about things changing, is the associative property, you see the numbers are in exactly the same order, The only thing that changes is the parentheses. And to me, the two S's in associative property, in the word associative property, they look like parentheses. So here's the word associative, and you see I have two S's right next to each other. And to me, those look like parentheses to me. So I always think of the associative property as the one where the parentheses are moving because the S's in there look like parentheses. So you can write that on your notes to remind your brain that the associative property is the one where the parentheses are moving, not the numbers, and the commutative property is the one where the numbers are moving. So I hope you got all that down in your notes. If you didn't, feel free to rewind, pause, replay until you're comfortable with these properties, the identity property, commutative property, and associative property. See you tomorrow in class to practice and learn more.